live coding languages. It allows multiple languages to be synchronized together in a metric format, while people are playing from basically anywhere. So the idea behind the Estuary was to create this accessibility that will allow exactly this, what we're doing with Supercontinent, which is an ensemble that is meant to be spread, distributed all over the globe. There is kind of like a basic rule that that said that every member of Supercontinent would be at least 500 kilometers away from the other. Kind of arbitrary, but basically the idea behind it is we want to hug the world and basically be all over the place. But this is just a setup. In terms of the creative process, we've been practicing together for about 3 years now. And we've built together an identity, an ensemble identity. Everybody comes from a very different kind of background in terms of artistic aesthetics, perhaps, and in terms of like the mode of creation that we used to. But we're all committed to the idea of journeying together and seeing what the collective or the sum of this multiplicity sort of can bring together into like one sound or one identity that is very very multiple, very diverse, and it's been fascinating. It's been really fascinating to come together. Every week we perform, we rehearse, and we develop our own kind of dynamics and our kind of language of how to enter an improvisation, and then of course how to build from there and listen to each other. And you know, we hope to get a setting where everybody's kind of like comfortable both sharing ideas and trying things out safely, and also okay to say when things don't work, and you know, and to feel that we can have this trust, you know, that allows for something to get better constantly. So that's generally what the Supercontinent setup is. Perhaps we can go just to like one person at a time and see if you have if you'd like to introduce yourself and your kind of like take on the process. Maybe
sorry, can I start? I forgot that I had a meeting.
Okay.
I'm so sorry. Yeah, basically I'm originally from Mexico, and I live right now in Hamilton in Canada. So I don't know how far is Montreal from Hamilton, Eldad?
Yeah, there's about 500 plus.
Yeah. So yeah, I was working on the visuals. I'm a visual artist, and that's what I was doing. So I took like a break from Supercontinent for like a year, right? Like 8 months or something like that. And I'm just returning. Like I returned last month. So yeah, so it's great. So basically, like every time that we like rehearse or perform together, there's always like some technical things like happening. So for example, right now I couldn't hear the sound well, like it was breaking for me. So I was like improvising with the visuals and just like hoping that everything will look nice in your end, because yeah, I couldn't hear like too well. But I think that's the fun part of just performing with other people, that you don't rely just on yourself, but in the others also to help you to perform and to improvise, and it's less stressful. Like when I perform myself, it's super stressful because I know I'm the only one doing code. uh, but yeah, that's me, and I'm sorry I have to go, but yeah, thanks for listening to us.
Awesome, thanks, Jessica. It's and you're right. I'm with you on that. There's so much more freedom in trying things out when you have, you know, the beat and the sort of the improvisation, the collective thing is going on, and you can try something and sort of move back. There's room to actually take a break when we're together. Eh? I love that too. All right. So I don't know, Celeste. For some reason, your image keeps on coming into my screen. I think it tells me you should go next.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Well, my name is Celeste. I'm from Colombia, and I was like doing the bass, like the Latin style bass in this performance. I was just trying to follow the drums, but as we were saying, one of the things of improvising with such a big group is like you have a lot of time to think what you're going to do, and then just to back up. It's not like you have the pressure to write every word and every possible sound. So it's beautiful just to listen to the general mood of the ensemble, and then just to see what will be the best thing you can do, and then just jump in and go out and jump in and go out. um, this one was very fun. I think like the transition between ambient sounds and then the hard style at the end, but it was not super beat. It was like very break beat. Um, I don't know. I really enjoy every week when we rehearsal. It's like for me, it's in the morning, so it's like a dance party in the morning every week. But thank you guys, and thank you everyone just for being here.
Awesome. Thank you. You're awesome. Yeah. Can Mynah, would you be happy to go back to go next?
I'm sorry, I need 2 minutes. Someone else go before me, and I'll jump right in.
Shelly?
Can you hear me? Yeah, I can go next. Seems like Mynah has some like great music going on in the background there. I guess one of the things I really like is like how different it is every time with this ensemble. Like what we played just now was like so different to what we played in the rehearsal. I mean, there was like some common things, but it was like a totally different vibe, and I kind of like love that you're always just kind of like in the moment and just like trying to respond to like what is happening. And I think the way with the strategies and like the way we set up the ensemble, it kind of gets you out of like always repeating the same patterns in every rehearsal. And yeah, I just wanted to like respond to what Celeste said about it being like in the morning for her, because like for me it's like the ensemble is like in my like mid-afternoon lull. And so it's always like such a great like pick me up to like come and like do a rehearsal and then go back to like more the hard work. But I really like that we all experience it at like different times of the day. So like Chiho, I think it's always very late at night for her. And yeah, depending on where you are in the world, it's sort of a different like rhythm to your day, like coming to the rehearsal.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, and if we're talking about the different times, maybe we should go far to Abhinay.
Yeah, I think I'm like far in a different way from everyone. So I'm Abhinay Kopaji. I'm from India, and right now I'm actually not in my studio. I'm in a friend's studio, and that's another great part about like performing with Supercontinent is you can be anywhere and still play, and you'll still have the same tools available to you all the time, the same kind of sounds available to you, and as Shelly mentioned, we did rehearse a little bit just before this. Did one set of sounds and then just throw it around, and the next time we come in for the performance, it completely transforms. For me, I work a lot with teams from everywhere, so technically this is supposed to be like the later part of the evening for me. So it does bring you into the sort of party mood starting for the evening. But because I work with teams everywhere, it sort of sometimes midday for me. And yeah, it kind of changes the way kind of do things and the vibe you're in. I think that's it for me.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess we could go back and talk about some specific things after if we have time. But Melandri.
Yes, so I'm situated in South Africa. I'm staying in Cape Town. And yeah, so basically what I really enjoy is just messing with like random sounds and how you can kind of put them in a sound kind of space. And I really like messing with where sounds sit in that space and how I can like move them around in the space with some of the stuff that we do. But yeah, that's basically what I'm currently interested in anyway. It kind of changes like all the time because I like to think that I can find at least like one good thing in every piece of music I listen to. So yeah, that's pretty much what I like feel.
Yeah, and I agree. And every time we perform or rehearse, I think there is something new to learn, right? It's like it's quite. I think the multiplicity makes it so, like, you know, because each one of us kind of like goes on their own way and like, you know, think, create, or, you know, and be about possible things, and we're influenced by each other. Then we bring up something new and we influence back. It's kind of like this really interesting mix of cross fertilization, you know, and I love that. Mynah.
Hi. Yeah, sorry for my quick escape earlier. So yeah, I'm Mynah. I'm now located in Portugal. I used to be located in Israel. I'm originally from Montreal. So I'm kind of like the moving part in Supercontinent. I'm usually at 500 kilometers from everyone though. Like, I think we've cheated like a few times, like me and Eldad, me and Shelly, but usually in that zone. So yeah, what I love is that I mean, at the base, before being a programmer, I was always a musician. And I guess that what I really love is finding this kind of same dynamic that I used to have when I was playing in bands, where, you know, you like everyone kind of occupies the space in a different way. And there's this work of like hearing the general space and finding where you can kind of fit yourself in. But it's also not just like where you can fit yourself in, but also like respecting your own style and knowing what your capabilities are and how you can, you know, add that little kind of magic touch in that space, because we're so many. So yeah, I just love the experience of learning to see, you know, how everyone does what they do. So that's really also motivating to learn from each other's code, like constantly every time we play together. Yeah, that's pretty much like my what I enjoy until now.
Awesome. Yeah, so maybe I'll share one other kind of thing that has developed through the year that we've been together. One thing is we've accumulated and you know, each of us can create sound, and then we can share them and play with each other's sound, which has been fun too. And I mentioned something about strategies. We developed strategies of how to enter an improvisation. And this has been a fun process. You know, when we started, at first, you know, we jump into an improvisation and sort of find ourselves, and sometimes not find ourselves, or maybe find ourselves just about 5 minutes before we need to go. Or so we were looking for a way to, I guess, enter the cohesion of an ensemble a little bit more quickly. So we'd come up with like, basically, I don't know, like dozens of random words that may define some kind of mood, perhaps, you know, and with a short one-sentence description of what that means. But it allowed us to, you know, go into a rehearsal in the beginning and say, okay, let's do today annihilation, right? And then, you know, we know exactly, we're all coming in pretty hot, and, you know, and then making this like very big kind of like maybe fast BPM sound, or, and each time we'd come up with something. And then of course, you know, we like some days would be in one mood, you know, or maybe, you know, today we're kind of slow, let's start with something like really ambient, let's forget about the existence of a beat and just sort of, but that would only be, whatever it is, would only be the entry point, right? Because we'd start, but then and I'd love to hear your experience with that too, but what I've discovered through this process is that the most important part of collective improvisation is finding that cohesion, so if you find it, then it's much easier to let things flow after, because then there is something that we're all kind of like are already part of, and we know where we are, and then we can listen. But I find it's kind of like an amazing trick if you start all in one coherent idea, which is like maybe may sound like restrictive, like we tell what, like for everybody what to do, let's all start in C major and something like that. But this cohesion is so crucial in making this link, right? And we have that link, and then it can go anywhere, and there's no restriction of where you go after. So I find these strategies really just kind of like the plugging in, element of improv, and that's been fun. So,
but I love that words like annihilation or aliens, or it's like, oh yeah, we're doing aliens.
Yeah.
Virus, right? Though that's the one that I love the most.
Yeah, virus. Maybe you can tell what it is. It's kind of, it's a pretty loaded word right now.
Oh yes, of course.
It's true.
Yeah, I mean, from what I understand, the idea is just to do something, and then somebody else picks it up and they mutate on it, and then it passes on and gets weirder and weirder. I think of it as that game Telephone of a different kind, done with code.
Yeah, I was always the worst in this telephone as a kid, because of my brain being somewhat divergent. I would hear something and I would turn it into something that doesn't make any sense, like that doesn't even exist, but to me it all totally made sense. Reorganizing the words and the phrases to like the syllables even sometimes. But it's the idea of mutation is kind of cool, right? And also it forces this kind of like take somebody else's idea and do something with it, and that automatically creates a chain, a link.
I love that some of our strategies are process oriented and some are result oriented also. I feel like this is really nice to have like this diversity. And the fact that we have like such creative names also, it's more about, our interpretation of how it should sound like. And I think this adds to kind of like the collective sound identity, of the group. Because we all chip in like our own like perception of it, right? Like not everyone hears aliens the same way. Like,
so. Yeah, it's true. And I also thought that the names being, cool and attractive kind of helps just for the fun of it, like to be fair, I did once, like when I was putting together some suggested strategies, I looked into movie names. So I just like looked, oh, this movie name looks kind of cool. Okay, what can we do with that? Annihilation was one of those.
Yeah.
It really works for a certain kind of sound.
Yeah, I didn't know that, but that's awesome. I guess aliens also came from it.
Yeah, no, and then. And you saw then like I sort of added a random word generator into the mix. So I just like I thought like if none of the strategies we feel like none of the strategies, maybe just throw a random word and see what it means for us. And just like it's kind of like a trigger to your creative mind. How can this word connect to music making together?
That's a great strategy to build the strategies. Yep.
Yeah, but I love how they kind of like they quite often don't really suggest like anything specific or like from a musical standpoint anything specific. So it kind of lets us all kind of take our own take on it, but like hopefully converge on something that's common, but in a sort of like really organic way.
Yeah, that's a cool point. You know, like I think well, I have a friend who sort of like talks about the idea of collaboration with everything, you know. So it's not like collaboration between people. We're going to do an opera, a mixed, like an improvised opera in the forest on Friday together, and it's going to be like a bunch of people. And as far as she sees it, we're not just collaborating with each other, we're collaborating with the trees. If it's going to rain, we're collaborating with the rain. So we're collaborating with the words. So like, you know, the idea that the words sort of like make us think how to connect it. It's a form of interaction with the words, but you know, the word is like a being we're collaborating with as well. Yeah, oh, you have a question from Valentina. And she asked, are you all planning, or do you already have an album of your collective performances?
That's
Bye,
a good
Shelly.
question.
Thank you, Shelly. So I guess the silence tells you we haven't planned.
Yeah, we do have a bunch of performances recorded, and even rehearsals recorded. So maybe something can come out from there.
Mm-hmm.
No, but maybe you have planted a seed, Valentina.
But I think that we are into improvisation a lot. So I think one of the most magic things about this ensemble is like you have to see us perform and see what happens, not just to play a record of Supercontinent, but to look for a live performance to see what happens. Nobody knows what will happen, not even us. So that's magic. It's like we're not making an album because one of the most tricky parts of this is like we have to improvise in real time everything. So it's like it's very confusing, but I think we are not making albums because we just improvise a lot.
True.
Yeah, that's another interesting point that I've always wondered too about. You know, this what's the value of a documented magical moment? You know, like and I always think of it as it's not a documentation of that moment anymore. It's like it's a new creation. But otherwise it takes away from me, you know, like you say, Celeste, it feels like it doesn't belong, this sort of like recording or putting together or producing. Well, you know, what the ensemble is about is this collective emergent creation. So I see it as simply like, okay, let's not worry about that. The album or the, you know, like we pick up some moments of beautiful music that we made, you know, and while not thinking about an album. I think, you know, as long as we don't think about making an album, that's fine. But we just pick up those things and create something else that has its own life, you know, like I see that as okay.
Yeah, when in the past we have tried doing things like, okay, let's try a take of something. Even the takes have come out. So like, even though we are doing similar-ish things because it's a take, yeah, it has come out completely divergent. So I think this is better.
Good.
We do have another question in the Q&A, I suppose, about languages.
In the Q&A in Montreal Connect. Let me see.
No, in Zoom, I think.
In Zoom, do you want to answer?
It says, how long have you... okay, I'm going to murder your name, but Monrea, yeah. Okay, cool. How long have you been playing together and which live coding languages are represented? Well,
Yeah,
Jessica is gone, so she was the one who was playing the most different language out of all of us.
right. Okay, so the primary, or the kind of like maybe the most common language in live coding, at least entry point live coding for a lot of people, is tidal cycles. It's a very well-known language created by Alex McLean. And in Estuary, most of the sound we made, today actually all of the sound we made was basically on a version of tidal cycles called miniTidal. And the visuals Jessica did today in Cinecero, which is a language. Is Cinecero a language that Jessica created?
Yep. She that's part of the PhD she's doing. Right.
So it's her language. And other languages that she also has been using for visuals is Punctual, which is created by David Ogborn. And there is an implementation of Hydra as well by Olivia Jack. Yeah. And so now when I'm saying implementation, both the miniTidal and Hydra are, I guess, restricted implementations that can work on the web interface. They have been growing, and actually miniTidal has become quite capable, but there's still a lot of things in tidal cycles that are not available in miniTidal. But there's so much, this coding is so flexible, and it can anyways do so much with so little. What other languages do we have? Anyone that are available?
What's it called? Sensate, the one that made by Luis. I think it's called Sense of Towers or something like that. The spelling and the name, I'm always confused about these. And I think even the Cinecero is a derived language, from what I understand, from something else altogether.
I'm actually not sure. But there are languages that are created as higher level languages on existing languages. And one cool thing about Estuary is that there is a way to do that. And basically you can create new commands with new alphabets, if you like, to refer to commands in other languages. So we were talking about, haven't done it yet, but we were talking about creating an higher level language that is over miniTidal or maybe over Punctual, that would use other alphabets, like Hebrew alphabet.
I was putting together one about Hindi, like doing tidal cycles with a Hindi dialect or something like that.
So this is to come at some point. Cool. I think we're just about time. This has been great. I'm seeing you guys every week, and it's always fun. But we always chat after, but we rarely do it visually. So it's actually really nice to see all of you.
Yeah, it's nice to see you, everyone.
So thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Hope to see you again.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.